Hello! There's this radical new thing going on out in the strength and conditioning world. It's called flexion with external rotation. I don't know if you heard about it yet, but it's the craziest, newest rage, okay? Flexion with external rotation is what happens when you squat down to take a crap. So, have I got your attention? Guess what? It also happens when you squat down when you're lifting weights. Flexion with external rotation. So here's what we're talking about. Do I have the requisite hip flexion with external rotation to squat ass to ankles without creating a posterior tilt of my pelvis? And by that, I mean butt wink. Butt wink. That shit is not good. This is what it looks like. Oftentimes, I'll see athletes come into me and they'll come down and they'll squat. They'll come down like this, and then at some point, typically about 90 degrees, they'll hit the end range and then their butt will round down like that, okay? Okay. Now that's creating a shear force of the spine, which is never good. Remember that, okay? But then to recover from that, what they'll do is psoas will kick on, the iliacus will kick on and try and pull forward so that they can round that back out. And now you're creating another shear force in the opposite direction, which again is not good, especially when the athlete's under load, because that can get expensive over time. You start to wear out those discs and those facet joints in the back. If the athlete is lacking hip flexion, so as I bring this other hip into full flexion, and I should be able to get it all the way to that rib cage without any posterior rotation. That would be normal, right? So I'm seeing a little bit of rotation right about there, okay? So I'm almost there. I got a little bit more space to go. But let's look at my left hip, okay? So again, I'm gonna palpate that ASIS and then go ahead and drag that left hip into flexion. And right about there is where I'm starting to sense that my pelvis starts to tilt backward, far short of what is needed to be considered normal range of motion, right? So what happens then is that pelvis starts to tilt backward, like I said, and what happens at that point is hip comes into flexion, we run out of capsular space, we run into the pelvis tilts backward, bam, we get that posterior rotation. Psoas here wants to fight it and says no, we want to keep the back straight. Iliacus wants to help him out, so they pull down. Their strong attachment is right here. So they pull back forward, we get another shear force under load, and over time, through those repetitive repetitions, you start to get a wearing away of the disc, and then boom, shakalaka. All of a sudden, you've got this beautiful little bulge right here. And guess what? When that bulge pushes on the nerve right there, that sucks, and you start to get some sort of a neuroptomesis or a axonoptomesis, or a basically, you start to get a disc bulge and you start to get compression on the nerve root, numbness tingling down the leg, and you start to get flaccid paralysis, okay? You start to get flaccid paralysis. And flaccid is never good, especially when you're talking about a male, but flaccid paralysis in your muscles means that you try to activate the muscle and it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do anything. So that is a concern, and you definitely want to have somebody check that out for you and get some anti-inflammatories in you as fast as possible, some high-grade, professional-grade anti-inflammatories, injectables, something like that. One of the other things you'll see in these the athletes that are missing hip flexion is they're overextended, okay? So they walk around kind of like this, and chest is kind of, rib cage just flared out, and they're always, pelvis is kind of tilted forward, and they've got this big arch in their back, and they're like, whoa, what's up? So that's not good. So you can identify that almost immediately and say, hey, you suck. You don't have enough hip flexion to go ass to ankles, okay? Another way to differentially diagnose that is, well, can this person do a pistol squat, right? So if you've got full hip flexion and full ankle dorsiflexion, then you should be able to squat down like my friend here and just kind of hang out there, ass to ankle, and it shouldn't be a stressor for you, right? So let's see if we can do that. I'll test it on myself, because I know that I have a lack of hip flexion on the left side. And guess what? I had a disc bulge on my left side, and guess what? I also had a nerve injury on the left side from that. And guess what? I lost control of my ankle dorsiflexion, kind of that S1, S2 segment of that nerve root. That's what caused that, is that missing that hip flexion, missing hip external rotation, not being able to get into that capsule. Over time, this left hemipelvis rotated back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and that left side of the disc wore out and it bulged, sure enough. So let's check it out. Here's some proof. The proof is in the pudding. I actually looked that up yesterday, and yes, the proof is in the pudding. So it's a true statement. So right side, ass to ankle, I could hang out here, right? It's not too bad. I'm not working very hard. Could be improved. Left side, so ass to ankle. Oh, I'm here, but as you can see, I'm working really hard not to fall backwards. My it's pulling me backwards. Oh, so if you see yourself getting pushed backwards like that, then you're not there. Go ahead and work on your hip flexion, external rotation. Bam.